Glover, tonight following the killing of a police officer, Ontario's bail system is once again under the microscope.
The murder of Constable Greg was preventable. This should have never happened. Something needs to change.
Police say the man charged in an OPP officer's murder was out on bail at the time. What else we've uncovered about the accused's past run-ins with the law. Plus,
it's going to be really exciting in that you can skip a visit to the doctor now just by visiting your pharmacist.
what ailments your local pharmacist will now be able to write a prescription for, how the expanded health access might help Ontario's struggling health system, and
we get heavy rains. That will be a challenge, and it could result in ditches backing up, creeks backing up.
After being battered by wind and ice, flooding may be Fort Erie's next concern. We're tracking the warming weather picture and how it might not be good news for everybody. But we begin again tonight in Haldimand County and those new details about the people accused of killing OPP Constable Greg Pershala. Not only did one of the accused have previous run-ins with the justice system, but police say he was out on bail at the time of the shooting. Dale Manukduk kicks off our coverage again tonight.
The OPP says that in 2021, Randall McKenzie was charged with several firearms-related offenses and assaulting a peace officer. He was later released on bail.
I'm outraged. I'm outraged by the fact that McKenzie was out on bail and was provided the opportunity to take the life of an innocent officer.
OPP Commissioner Thomas Carrique says prior to the alleged murder of Constable Greg Pershala, McKenzie failed to attend court back in September and a warrant was out for his arrest. He also says that in 2018, McKenzie was banned from owning a firearm for life.
That lifetime prohibition of weapons is not worth the paper it's written on. People that are going to use firearms in crimes are not going to worry themselves about the legalities.
CBC News obtained a 2021 document from the Parole Board of Canada. The document describes a violent 2017 robbery of a restaurant owner in which McKenzie pointed a handgun at two people, assaulted the owner, and made off with his vehicle and cash. It also notes he has prior convictions of assault and failure to comply. While he was incarcerated, he stabbed another offender, and it rates him as medium-high risk of intimate partner violence.
And I know that there's a lot of interest in ensuring to see that changes are made to ensure where possible, people who are charged with violent offenses that are firearms related are not in those positions moving forward.
While the OPP insinuate law reform to prevent reoffending, others say the bail system is necessary.
The vast majority of the time, bail is successful, and it's what makes us just. It's what makes for a just system. And the police, it might be hiding some of their own mistakes here to blame it on the bail system.
The parole board document says McKenzie is from the Onondaga First Nations of the Six Nations of the Grand River Territory and notes he has experienced the negative impacts of colonialism. The other person charged in the Pershala murder is 30-year-old Brandy Stewart-Sperry. She had been wanted by Niagara Police since 2020 for failing to comply. Police say that on Tuesday, when Constable Greg Pershala was killed, he was ambushed and did not discharge his firearm, and that McKenzie and Stewart-Sperry stole another vehicle by way of robbery and fled the scene before being apprehended. The motive of the killing is still under investigation. McKenzie and Stewart-Sperry are due back in court on January 17th. A procession from Toronto to Barrie for Constable Pershala is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Now to a Toronto courthouse and the 8 teenaged girls accused of murdering a homeless man in the downtown earlier this month. One of the accused got bail today, and bail for the rest will be considered in the new year. Ali Chiasson has that story tonight.
7 of the co-accused appeared this morning individually over Zoom from different detention centers. Dates for their bail hearings will be set next Thursday. One of the teenagers was released from custody today and has been ordered to follow strict bail conditions. She must forfeit her passport and can't leave the province. She can attend school but is not allowed to leave the school property while there. She can't possess any weapons, a cell phone, or access the internet unless it's to attend online school. Her bail was paid by 2 sureties at the cost of $9,500.
Those conditions could have been more restrictive. You could have had a situation of complete house arrest where they're not allowed out of the house.
This criminal defense lawyer says what the judge handed down today is generally pretty typical given the young age of the accused.
They've recognized that these are young people, that education is something that is going to promote rehabilitation.
But given that the police investigation is ongoing, one condition is critical.
The most important requirement would be a no contact order to prevent these people from communicating with each other for two main reasons. One is to diminish the risk that they might commit further acts of violence if they're acting together as they did allegedly that night, but also to prevent them from contacting each other to interfere potentially with an investigation, to destroy evidence.
According to police, the group of 3 13-year-olds, 3 14-year-olds, and 2 16-year-olds got into an altercation with a 59-year-old homeless man near York and University Avenue on December 18th, just after midnight. Police say the teens attempted to steal a liquor bottle before the alleged swarming took place and the man was fatally stabbed.
So we have 8 co-accused here. Are we going to see some finger pointing when it comes to trial?
Especially given the number of people involved, you could fully expect that each individual is going to be arguing that their involvement in the actual fatal attack is diminished. I fully expect that most of them are going to argue that they were bystanders, they were swept along with the crowd. A lot of this is going to turn on what the facts end up being.
Like how long did the teens know each other? What were their intentions that night? All things that are part of the ongoing police investigation. With one accused being granted bail today, the 7 others are back in court next week to set bail hearings for February. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Turning now to more violence on the TTC, and police are asking for help identifying 2 people wanted for an assault on a streetcar. Officers releasing security camera images of the man and woman they're looking for. The incident happened on December 17th in the Girard and Don Valley Parkway area. The 2 allegedly assaulted someone and then got off the streetcar. In Vaughan, a visitation took place this evening for one of the 5 people killed in the condo mass shooting from earlier this month. Rita Camilleri was 57 years old and was remembered tonight as kind and hardworking. Her funeral will take place tomorrow. Meanwhile, her husband, Vittorio Panza, was also killed in the shooting. His funeral was yesterday. Police say 3 of the victims were members of the condo board. The 2 others were their spouses. Police shot the 73-year-old gunman, Francesco Ville, in the condo hallway. An SIU investigation into his death is ongoing. Down in Fort Erie, ice and snow from that brutal pre-Christmas storm still looks beautiful, but it is causing quite a few headaches, and now flooding could be the next concern. Greg Ross explains.
With temperatures climbing back above freezing and much of the snow starting to melt, residents are getting a much clearer picture of the damage last week's storm left behind.
This along here, from that pole, for example, all the way along here, was at least 5 feet taller or higher, but the waves took it all out and sunk it all down.
Brian Wilson says the waterfront outside his home has been washed away, and so has the road leading up to his house.
So just to be clear, this was a paved roadway that ran in front of your house that doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't exist. It used to have nice little yellow lines in the middle to demarc left and right side. They're gone.
It could be a while before city crews are able to repair this road. For now, the focus is repairing downed power lines and making sure that power is restored to all of the homes that lost it during the storm.
Right now, there's probably several dozen homes still without power, but they're pretty much spread across the community in pockets.
Fort Erie Mayor Wayne Redekop says they believe they are through the worst of it, which is why they made the decision to lift a state of emergency that the city was under. He says they are still cautiously keeping an eye on water levels, with the snow melting and rain in the forecast starting tomorrow.
We're making sure that we're cleaning out culverts, making sure that manhole covers are clear, drain covers are clear. We're asking residents to help out if they can with respect to that.
With roadways relatively clear, many residents are venturing out to see the storm damage firsthand, including these waterfront homes that remain encased in ice.
That's unbelievable. I've never seen nothing like that in my entire life, and I was born and raised in Crystal Beach.
Some walking out onto the icy beach to get a closer look. Others want to do more than just see it. This man using his drone to get some rare pictures of the spectacle.
I really want to see something I can only see once in my life and take pictures of something I'll never see again.
Many here are hoping they never see a storm like this again either.
Christmas 2022 is going to be remembered for the rest of my life.
Greg Ross, CBC News, Fort Erie.
So a storm they will never forget and not likely to be repeated anytime soon, though we certainly are in for some rain. Dahlia Ashry is joining us now. And Dahlia, rain is on the way, but today it was wind that was the factor.
That's right, Chris. It was a little windy earlier today, but overall, a fairly warm day, and we will continue to see those warm temperatures trending for the rest of the week, especially as we head into the weekend and we ring in the new year, and also a little bit of sunshine on the way too, but mainly rain. But first, let's talk about the daytime high in Toronto today, 9 degrees. Usually this time of year would be -1, so we're sitting well above seasonal temperatures. And Ottawa, 7 degrees, a little chilly out there, but still overall, I mean, fairly warm nonetheless, above seasonal temperatures overall across the board. Now, if we take a close look what to expect as we head into the weekend, well, tonight we will see a little bit of drizzle. As we head into tomorrow, we're going to see a little bit of that drizzle still sticking around, a little bit of that rain starting to make its way through in the morning at around 10 a.m. And then really at around 2 p.m. that rain starts to pick up a little bit, and then we get a little bit of a break, and then at around 6 p.m. a little bit more of that rain comes through, and that will carry through all the way through Saturday. So heavy rain is expected on Saturday. As for tonight, temperatures will drop to double digits, 10 degrees, and then more double digits for tomorrow afternoon, 11 degrees, but there is rain on the way for tomorrow, so make sure you have your umbrella prepared.
All right, we will be ready. Thanks, Dahlia. The controversial law capping wage increases for Ontario public sector workers is back in the news tonight. The Ford government officially filing an appeal of a recent court decision striking down Bill 124. Last month, a court ruled the law capping wages was unconstitutional. But in its appeal today, the government argued it does not infringe on the rights to freedom of association and collective bargaining. Still, in a statement today, the Ontario Nurses Association says it is outraged the Premier is appealing the court's decision, while the union representing thousands of Ontario healthcare workers called the move a waste of taxpayer money. Starting in the new year, Ontarians can skip the doctor and go straight to a pharmacist to treat some common ailments. As of January 1st, pharmacies will be able to assess and prescribe medication for several conditions at no additional cost to the patients. As Tyler Cheese reports, the service is meant to ease some of the burden on a strained healthcare system.
Pharmacists in Ontario will soon be able to prescribe medications for 13 common conditions, including pink eye, menstrual cramps, cold sores, and urinary tract infections.
It's going to be really exciting in that you can skip a visit to the doctor now just by visiting your pharmacist. These things don't need necessarily, they're not complicated to treat, and they don't need long wait times. They definitely don't need an emergency room or a hospital visit.
The move comes as Ontario hospitals and clinics have been hit hard by a recent surge in viral illnesses.
It will decrease the amount of pressure on the system. Definitely not a silver bullet that's going to solve all our problems. It's not going to create nurses magically in our hospitals, but it's a step in the right direction nonetheless.
Ontario follows in the footsteps of most other provinces, which have already introduced similar measures.
It was very well received in these provinces by all parties, actually, pharmacies, patients, as well as physicians, because they can now focus on the more complex matters.
Back in July, when it was first announced by the government, questions were raised about who would pay for the service. But now the Ontario Pharmacists Association says it'll be publicly funded, free for anyone with a valid health card.
Patients do not have to pay out of pocket in order to have the service, which is great for equitable access to make sure that whether you're in a rural community, in an urban center, and it's not based on your ability to pay on your socioeconomic status.
If successful, experts say the scope of service could be expanded even further in the future.
We are starting with 13. Many jurisdictions have more than 13, but I do think we can build on this success. We're going to collaborate with the ministry and the college to measure this and look at the outcomes and learn from other jurisdictions.
Some smaller pharmacies will likely need more time to offer the new service, but for those that will be up and running January 1st, patients are encouraged to call ahead or book an appointment online. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome back. Police forces across the GTA have been busy with lots of violent crime this year, particularly with carjackings, where there's been a substantial uptick. Industry experts say stolen vehicles are a serious problem that requires more attention from the police and the government. Meg Roberts has the details.
30 seconds is all it took to steal Dave Hutchinson's Range Rover from his underground parking spot in his downtown Toronto condo.
And the fact they did it so easily, they didn't break glass, they didn't break into anything.
Hutchinson is one of thousands who've had their vehicles stolen this year. In Toronto alone, more than 8,000 were taken, a 43% increase from 2021.
Well, this is a really successful outcome for our officers after a very significant problem we were facing with our community with the massive increase in carjacking incidents.
Back in the spring, police across the GTA created a carjacking task force, and just a few months ago, it recovered $1.4 million worth of stolen vehicles.
It's a serious problem.
Industry experts say this is being driven by organized crime, which ships the vehicles overseas.
As I get in the vehicle, what you'll note is that on my phone here, I've got a real-time notification of the Raven, a security event.
Tech companies are trying to help. Raven Connected has designed a monitoring system to deter theft and identify the culprits.
We've received a notification for movement. We're receiving a notification for vehicle on. And if I were to try and disconnect power, I would receive a notification for that as well.
This camera records and transmits images in real time to the owner's cell phone, as well as a GPS location.
Now they can see what's going on in front of the vehicle. They can see what's going on inside the vehicle, and that's just really valuable.
Police are offering drivers some tips to help too, like considering a steering wheel lock or an automatic engine shutoff. Police are suggesting you cover your VIN or vehicle information number when parked. If you have a second vehicle, consider parking it behind the one that's more likely to be stolen. And store vehicle keys or fobs away from the windows and doors of your home.
They told me to buy a club or put an air tag in my vehicle, but when you're spending X amount of dollars on a vehicle, I don't think that's on me to secure the vehicle. That should be secured already.
Hutchinson believes more responsibility should rest with manufacturers.
The reality is that every time vehicle manufacturers put in place mechanisms to try and thwart vehicle theft, thieves are essentially almost one step ahead.
Industry experts say the government needs to get tough on car thieves, and border officials should be more vigilant at ports where the vehicles are being shipped. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Toronto.
A picture-perfect night as we pop outside for a live look at Toronto's skyline. The temperature this evening is hovering just around 8 degrees. And it is set to get even warmer from here. Dahlia is back with a look at the long-range forecast. And Dahlia, as we get set for those warmer temperatures, very little sunshine peeking through.
That's right, Chris. Mainly a gloomy one earlier today, fairly cloudy throughout the entire day, and quite a windy one as well. But overall, temperatures were quite warm today, and we will continue to see those warm temperatures trending over the next few days, and especially as we head into the weekend. Now, speaking of which, the daytime high in Toronto today, 9 degrees, sitting above seasonal temperatures. Usually the daytime high for today would be -1, so it is quite high. St. Catharines already starting to kick off going into the weekend, slowly but surely with those double digits. But we're getting there as well. If we take a close look here and we see what to expect into tomorrow and as we head into the weekend, tomorrow a little bit of drizzle throughout the day, and then slowly that rain will creep up at around 1 p.m. We're going to see a little bit of that, and then some more drizzle at around 6 p.m. But then really the rain's going to pick up and it's going to carry through into Saturday. So Saturday is really when we're going to see the heavy rainfall. At around 12 o'clock, we'll get a little bit of a break, but then it will slowly pick back up again as we head into the evening. But then Sunday is when it's going to be mainly cloudy. We might get some sunshine, a little bit of sunshine here and there for breaks, especially as we head into the new year. So that's always nice to see that we'll get a little bit of sunshine as we kick off 2023. Now, we are expecting also some windy conditions, but mainly for today, heading into tomorrow as well. We'll see winds gusting up to about 40 kilometers an hour. But then truthfully, as we head into Sunday, the winds will get a lot lighter. We're going to see winds really gusting up to 14 kilometers an hour. So it's not much, quite the drastic change from today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Now, as for tonight, temperatures will drop to double digits. We haven't seen those double digits in quite a while. 40% chance of drizzle. Quite the same story across the board. Oshawa, a little bit rain already for tonight. And then as for the next few days, like I said, Friday, Saturday, we're going to have a little bit of a damp one. And then Sunday, we're heading into the new year with a little bit of sunshine.
All right, sounds nice. Thanks. At the airport, Sunwing travelers are still trying to get their baggage after canceled flights and days of waiting.
We got the email to come here. We come here today. They are very cooperative inside. They took our numbers, ticket numbers, and they said, okay, so either you come back tomorrow or we'll ship it to you, but there are no timelines.
Bag is somewhere in the abyss.
But in the end, this part has been really great. There are a lot of people working hard in there to get us our baggage, so I'm just relieved to have it.
The airliners sent emails telling people to retrieve their bags at a building near Pearson. And while some got their bags, others are still waiting. Sunwing says it's due to a mechanical issue with baggage belts. Meanwhile, a Good Samaritan is making a big impact for some travelers.
So I finally make it to Merida. It's been a week of traveling. And get a text from out of the blue with a photograph of my big purple suitcase sitting at Pearson. And she says, I'm wandering around looking for my own luggage. So I decided to text people whose phone numbers she could find and tell them where their luggage was. She just couldn't believe that someone had the presence of mind to do something for other people when everyone was so stressed. When I was there, I heard them chanting, the lineup started chanting, give us our bags. It was like a revolution of luggage. And to get that message just was like amazing. So that's why I posted about it on Facebook. I thought people need to know. And if everyone in that room agreed, let's find 5 pieces of luggage with a phone number and text them with a photo, everyone would have been reassured and had that sort of Christmas gift of here's where your luggage is. It hasn't fallen out of a plane over an ocean. You're going to get it back. So I was very, very, very moved by what she did.
Hooray for kindness. Love that. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We'll leave you now with some shots of Crystal Beach. Have a great night, everyone.